Over the years, I've had a number of blunders, bloopers, and fun stuff that's happened to me out on my kayak while fishing, and they're no good unless I get to share them with you. So I put a few of them together in a little video for your enjoyment. One of my favorite species to fish for are muskie. It seems over the years, surprisingly enough, a lot of my bloopers revolve around muskie. I've caught a number of muskies over the years, but surprisingly enough, I've only caught what I call two humpback muskies. Those ones are muskies with a little bit of deformity, I guess you could say, on their back. For whatever reason, these two muskies decided they didn't want to take a hero shot with me.
Oh, come here, baby.
Hey Siri, take a picture.
You ready? Ouch. Bye-bye. I knew that was happening. I went to grab him and he sliced my finger open.
The one thing with muskie fishing is you need a bigger net. Sometimes a bigger net poses its own problems. Sometimes getting the muskie into the net is the difficult part.
Get him.
Getting the muskie out of a net in a kayak doesn't always go as planned. Sometimes muskies will even come up, have a look, they'll even bite your line. Doesn't mean you're going to land them. You always have to be ready when muskie fishing. Sometimes they'll strike when you least expect it. Sometimes it'll even show up when you're bass fishing. Sometimes you'll get lucky and the muskie almost seem like they want to jump into your kayak.
Whoa!
Not to be outdone, I still have my issues with bass as well. Sometimes the hardest part of tournament fishing for bass is getting them measured in a proper picture. Bass do like to spit the hooks. Sometimes you get lucky and your net's ready. When they do spit the hooks, you gotta be ready with ninja-like reflexes. Sometimes the bass will try and distract you by spitting their previous meal at you.
Really? Oh.
A few years ago, I came up with a system to mount my hog trough on my A-trail. I just used a Hobie accessory plate mount, added a number of magnets to it, and then I epoxied a couple steel plates to the bottom of my hog trough. Initially, the system worked well. I was able to get my hog trough off the deck of my kayak and out of my way, but still readily accessible when I needed it. Then one day in May 2017, I went out to Lighthouse Cove to fish for some walleye. I was out there for a number of hours until the wind started picking up and started to get quite choppy. I decided it was time to turn back in and headed back to the launch. I didn't realize it, but by the time I got back to the launch, I was looking around for my hog trough and it was nowhere to be found. I couldn't understand where or how it disappeared. So when I got home, I looked over my video and I noticed on the way back in, a wave popped up, knocked it off of the plate, and away she went floating away. Since I installed a couple of wooden dowels in the hog trough, I had very little hope, but still some hope that it may float along somewhere and somebody might pick it up. I had my name that I put on the label on the hawg trough, and I'd hope that maybe somebody might come across it and give me a shout. Over time I lost hope and figured it was gone, until one fateful day in March of 2018, some 10 months later. I went uptown to grab my morning coffee from Tim Hortons and decided I'd run up to the Bell River Marina and see what was happening there. The ice was out, and some of the people were just kind of fishing from the break walls. As I drove in, I noticed a couple kind of in the river cut fishing there. I circled back around, and by the time I came back, I had noticed that the one gentleman's rod was bent over, and he was trying to haul something in. So I decided to sit back and relax and see what he had on there. Didn't seem to be making much progress, and I watched the lady reach over, grab the line, and then pull something up on the end of his line and drop it on the shore. I looked over at it, and it just looked like a piece of log there for a second, and then I happened to notice at the one end of it a familiar little I guess you could call it stop at the end. Kind of got me wondering there for a second, maybe, possibly. Got out of my truck, walked over, and as soon as I got close, I thought, yep, that's a hawg trough. And as I got even closer, I could notice it still had a turning tag on it. That's my hawg trough. So I walked over and I said to the guy, I said, hey, that's my hawg trough. I lost it a number of months ago. The guy kind of looked at me sideways and thinking, you're weird. I had no idea what I was talking about. And then I walked up to it and I cleared off one section where I had the label with my name on it. I said, there's my name. And lo and behold, there it was my hawg trough. It had traveled some 12 miles along Lake St. Clair through 10 months winter as well, and somehow or another was trying to make its way up the Bell River. And just by luck, I happened to be there when this guy hauls it in. So I've affectionately named this hawg trough Wilson, and still with me here today. Still used when the tournaments allow it, and I still use the mounting plate, but since Wilson seems to like to wander, Wilson doesn't go on the kayak without a leash anymore. Well, I hope you enjoyed the video. I'll probably have some more bloopers in the future.